Hello, today I'm going to be talking about bias in artificial intelligence and more specifically what happens when algorithms aren't fair. This is an important issue because artificial intelligence is becoming more involved in our everyday lives, often in ways we don't even notice. Artificial intelligence systems are now a part of many everyday systems that influence people's lives. Examples include hiring tools used to select candidates, facial recognition technologies used for identification, and algorithms that determine eligibility for loans. Although AI is sometimes viewed as an objective and data-driven decision maker, these systems can also produce unfair or biased outcomes which affect real people. To add to this, many people assume computers are neutral, but in reality, they reflect the data and decisions created by humans. Because of this, understanding bias in AI is critical, especially as these systems continue to expand in areas like healthcare, law enforcement, and education. AI bias can be defined as consistent and reproducible errors within an artificial intelligence system that result in unfair outcomes. These unfair outcomes typically disproportionately impact individuals with specific demographics such as different ages, ethnicities, socioeconomic standings, or genders. AI systems are not created with the intent to be biased. Bias is embedded either through the data that they're trained on or how the system itself is constructed. Since AI systems learn based on provided information, they absorb human and/or societal inequalities. In other words, AI doesn't create bias out of nowhere. It reflects patterns that already exist in society. Artificial intelligence systems, particularly machine learning models, learn by reviewing large amounts of information in order to identify relevant patterns within that data. These systems do not understand information like humans do. They are predictive of future results based on statistical relationships. If the training data consists on unfair or incomplete information, then the AI will learn those patterns and produce those results as well. In effect, AI systems produce output based on the quality of the data it receives. So if the input is flawed, the output will also be flawed, which is why data quality is so important. One of the biggest contributing factors to AI bias is the bias training data. This training data is used to help teach the AI systems to make decisions. If there are historical inequalities within this data, the AI will eventually replicate them. For example, a business that predominantly hired males throughout its history would train AI systems to believe that men are superior candidates to women. AI does not generate bias, it perpetuates it. This shows how past discrimination can continue into the future through technology. Me personally, as a Black woman, I have seen videos where there's a lot of outrage over certain products specifically for African Americans, like darker makeup or hair products, where those products are locked up, whereas the lighter makeup of the same brand is available. And it's just based off of the pure statistical data of what's stolen the most. So this is another form of bias, but it's just based on the data. Human decisions are instrumental to the process of building AI systems. Engineers choose what information to collect, how to label it, how the AI system itself is structured. All of these choices, if not made with careful intent, could contribute to the system being biased. Since humans are not entirely objective, individual assumptions can influence how outcomes are presented to the system. This highlights that bias can enter AI long before the system is even used. Companies today use artificial intelligence to screen candidates and assess individuals. The AI system is taught what a successful candidate looks like through previous hiring information. If these hiring decisions were previously biased against a certain demographic, then the system will perpetuate those decisions. This can reinforce inequality and disadvantage candidates from the groups who are less represented in the previous pool of candidates. As a result, qualified individuals may be overlooked simply because of patterns in past data. Facial recognition is used for identification of persons and for assessing certain information or personal devices. Research indicates that facial recognition is less accurate for individuals with darker skin tones or with differing features. This bias has occurred because the data sets these systems were trained on were insufficient or lacking in racial and ethnic diversity. This has led to people being incorrectly identified, potentially leading to unjust suspicion or denial of services. This example shows how bias can have serious real-world consequences. The impacts of AI bias range far beyond just the technical implications. It can significantly affect a person's chances of receiving an interview or being offered a job, their ability to secure financing from a lending institution, their treatment within the criminal justice system. And when we fail to create fair AI, we often reinforce inequalities that already exist within our society. AI systems must be tested for unfairness before implementing their critical applications. This is especially important because these decisions can directly impact someone's lives and opportunities. There are several types of bias that affect artificial intelligence systems. Data bias, when training data does not accurately represent the real world or includes historical biases. Algorithmic bias, when the design of an algorithm is responsible for discriminatory outcomes. Human bias, when human judgments, whether deliberate or unconscious, influence the results of an AI system. These categories of bias are often related and feed off of each other. Understanding these types helps us better identify where problems might occur. Bias in AI is certainly able to be reduced. It is virtually impossible for it to be entirely eliminated. Steps that can be taken include using an increased volume of diverse training data, hiring people who represent multiple backgrounds for AI development, periodic and extensive testing of AI systems to ensure fair outcomes throughout all demographics. Reduction is possible, but it requires intentional, ongoing effort. It's not just a one-time fix. It's something that must be continuously monitored. Despite there being ways to overcome AI bias, it remains a challenge. Many biases are deep-seated in the system, making them difficult to spot immediately. Some systems are so complex that they cannot be fully interpreted, even by developers. Because AI systems are constantly being retrained, new bias could occur even if the original system was free of it. Monitoring AI is not a one-time task. It is an ongoing responsibility. This makes solving bias a long-term issue rather than a quick solution. With growing awareness of AI bias and technology continually developing, many are focusing on building fair and unbiased AI systems. Regulations and laws are already being established by governing bodies. New methodologies are being researched that aid in identifying and removing bias. In order for future AI systems to be equitable, developers, governing bodies, and the public will need to work together. This collaboration will be key in ensuring fairness moving forward. Artificial intelligence does not naturally remain neutral or unbiased. AI systems exhibit biased outcomes primarily because they learn by analyzing existing human-created information. When an AI system yields results that are inherently unfair to an entire demographic, there is a great risk in implementing such systems without careful consideration and monitoring. Awareness, diversity, testing, and regulation are all essential in building a fairer AI future. These are the main ideas I want you to remember from this presentation. If artificial intelligence can be biased, should we trust it to make important decisions about human lives? This is an important question to think about as AI continues to grow and influence society. And that was all for my project. Thank you very much for listening.